Cheap and cheerful, if you own or are planning to buy a USB or battery-powered soldering iron, you need to see this video. I'll be showing the truth on how they all perform, also testing the Fnirsi HS03, the Alientek T65, T80, T90, the Sequre SI012 Pro Max, plus some ultra cheapies from Banggood.com. It's all the facts, none of the faff, coming right up. Quick message to my subscribers, if you've been thinking of getting a thermal camera, right now is the time. Thermal Master's Prime Day prices are up early at their official website, the cheapest I've seen them in a long time. Check out the details below. All the data for today's tests is at cheerful.cheap. If you'd like to support my work, you can buy using the affiliate links below, which may earn me a commission and help me buy more things to test. These are the ones that I bought with your support, and these are the ones that were sent in for review. As you'll see, I don't hold back no matter where they come from. No contracts, no paid sponsorship, no BS. Timestamps are below. Let's go. So I had planned to do the usual review with heat up times, handle temps and performance until I found out that most of these irons were poorly calibrated out of the box. The worst was 80 degrees Celsius or 176 Fahrenheit over temperature, which is a serious problem, easily fixed with most of them using a cheap soldering iron thermometer. So I'll show you how to do that. We'll take a quick look at each unit, do the accuracy test. We'll see which ones are fastest to melt, which ones get a bit hot to hold, then some results and recommendations. Okay, first up, the Fanttik T1 Max. Finally got one of these after all the what about Fanttik comments from people. Influencers hype this one like mad. I bought this myself, $55 on Amazon, which is about 78 Aussie dollars. Yet on Amazon Australia, I paid 140 Australian bucks.
What?
We get absolutely shafted here. So it's a C210 iron, so precision only. Don't buy this or any C210 iron for larger stuff like XT60, battery connections, that kind of stuff. These tips are for precise work like through-hole components, PCBs, Arduino kits, that kind of thing. So it comes with 4 tips, a decent stand and a solder sucker or solder sucker. 11 watts on battery, 16 if you keep the USB-C plugs in, claims 7 seconds until it melts. We'll test that. It is a bit of a chunky boy, though not as big as the Fnirsi, we'll check in a second. Twisty bum temperature setting. First impressions of this are very good. It feels nice to hold. It seems not too bad on the balance, a little bit rear weighted. As for calibration, well, I set it to 350 degrees Celsius or 662 Fahrenheit. It started off slow and then it just kept climbing and climbing and climbing and went way past 350 degrees up to 420, 430 Celsius or 805 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 80 degrees Celsius or 176 Fahrenheit over temperature, which is a serious problem. On a C210 iron for fine work with tiny components like ICs and PCBs, that much overshoot is going to burn your flux, it'll give you dull joints, lift up pads, it could even kill components. The problem is the Fanttik has no screen and no Bluetooth app, so unlike the others, there's no way to fix that. There's no way to recalibrate it. So if you own one of these, grab a soldering iron thermometer like this. There's a link below. They're cheap, about 15 or 20 US bucks. Check for the overshoot, and if it does, adjust your temperature each time you use it. I double checked the result with a fresh sensor wire and it was the same. The thermometer is accurate. I checked that. Just quickly, if you can do me a favor and like and subscribe this video, it really helps out and makes all this effort that I go to worth it. Okay, next up, the Fnirsi HS03 cordless soldering iron. If you thought the Fanttik was thick, get a load of this. It is thick. And the extra girth is for good reason because it's got a replaceable 18650. How cool is that? That's why I like Fnirsi. They're always doing something different. Some people say they're fancy on the outside and average on the inside, but look, $50 with a coupon, comes with a case, 3 210 style tips, runs on USB or battery, has an end cap that seems to double as a threaded brass inserter for 3D printing. It has the same twisty bum rear end, though just numbers on here, not temperature. It displays the temperature on screen as you change it. One negative, the built-in charging is quite slow, about 300 milliamp hours, so that's about 8 hours from completely flat. Thankfully, you can use it while it's plugged in, so that's not really an issue. Calibration out of the box was surprisingly accurate, maybe 5 or 10 degrees under, but probably within the margin of error, and it does have a calibration setting in its menu, so thumbs up to Fnirsi for that one. Okay, next up the T65. It's light, plastic, not as premium feeling as the T80 or T90, but it uses that anti-static thermoplastic we saw in the Sequre S99, which is strong and runs cooler. Unlike the S99, it has a nice triangular rubber grip. Price-wise, the T65 and the T90 are the same at the moment, which is really weird because the T90 is the top tier 140 watt 2 to 3 second heat up model with a color screen, comes with a case and a basic cable, whereas the T65, it's 65 watts, 8 second heat up and monochrome, comes in a cardboard box. So then how can this be their value model? Well, it's about the total cost of ownership. Most of you already own a 65 watt charger and cable that'll work with this, but 140 watt gear is quite expensive. Once you factor that in, the T65 is quite a lot cheaper, especially for RC work, hobbies, small projects. The T65 is going to be plenty. Temperature accuracy out of the box was basically perfect. 2 or 3 degrees Celsius off, which is within the margin of error. I won't bother fixing that, but you can just press both buttons at the same time and then go to temperature calibration, and you can set it there. Keep in mind though, yours might not be the same as mine. Every iron's going to be a little bit different from the factory, so still worth checking yours with one of these. A very quick look at the T90, which is Alientek's flagship top-of-the-range iron. See the full review in last episode, but it is a great unit. Out-of-the-box calibration was a little bit off on mine by 15 or 20 Celsius, or 60 to 70 Fahrenheit over, which is exactly why they have the calibration menu. So press both buttons down, and then it's just a matter of going to temperature calibration and setting it there. I got mine to be almost perfect. $47 right now with the case and the cable. Get the T90B for general soldering or the T90A for small precision stuff. Link below for that one. More tests coming up. Okay, the T80P, my go-to recommendation since the first episode. This is a great low-cost 100-watt iron, mostly just as good as the T90, just slightly lower spec at 100 watts. It's thinner, got a monochrome screen, though it's been proven over many years now. It's getting a little bit old, but the tech hasn't changed. $34 on sale right now, which is ridiculously cheap. That's linked below. Out-of-the-box calibration on mine was basically spot on. Look at that, far out. Alientek, great company. I'm a big fan. Their gear is always really high quality. All right, so you guys wanted me to revisit the C200S. Big shout out to Banggood.com for sending 2 of these C200S variants my way. They've got a Hobby Day sale happening right now. A link for that below if you're keen and want to support the channel. Always lots of cool stuff to see there. So these two are basically the same inside. Battery powered, USB-C, claim 15 watts. They both take precision C210 tips, just like the Fanttik and the HS03. You get 3 of them in the box each with the case and all the accessories. The one with the screen is about $19 posted, or 25 Aussie. Is quite a hard plasticky feel to it, but you know, what do you expect for that kind of money? The screenless one is $14 US or 18 bucks Aussie posted. It's just crazy cheap. With that one, you tell the temperature by the color of the LED that comes on. It's got a nice grip and a decent case too. Now, both of them are dirt cheap. Heaps of people like them, especially this style one. So we'll see how they go. Temperature accuracy, the $19 one wasn't too bad. It got to 300 degrees Celsius fairly quick. It took a while to hit that 350. So I just bumped it up to 370 and it sped up. Other than that, once it gets there, it's relatively accurate, completely workable for quick fixes, occasional jobs. The screenless one, which I quite like, the manual reckons the blue LED is 330 to 380 degrees. I tried that and it went way past 400 degrees Celsius and climbing. So I flicked it back to the first gear green and it still sat around 420 to 430 degrees Celsius. Okay, the Sequre SI012 Pro Max, you asked for it, so here it is. It's a PD 3.0 100 watts iron, $32 US on AliExpress or 47 Aussie. And you guessed it, I paid double, about $96 dues at my local hobby shop, and they wonder why nobody shops local anymore. The last Sequre S99 was okay, I wasn't a huge fan, but this one, well, I really liked it when I first unboxed this one. It's light, it's nice to hold, the buttons are in perfect position, and then I plugged it in, and yeah, I've got no idea what all that is about. It's very flamboyant. It can be turned off though.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
So this takes TS, SI, and T12s, so heaps of options in terms of tips. And best of all, it's got dual USB-C and DC input, which is great if the USB-C port fails. Always use a flexible silicone cable like this for that reason. I like this one, the AUSSIE Stilky cable, 140 watts, about $10 US, 15 Aussie. There's a link below for that one. So I went to test temperature accuracy, and it turned out that my Charge power bank, actually both of the Charge ones, just wouldn't power it. We had the same issue with the Sequre S99, and if I recall correctly, it's because they all use very high resistance tips designed for high ampage FPV batteries. So many power banks assume there's something wrong and just won't power it. Thankfully though, my AUSSIE 240 watt charger and both UGreen power banks, this 140 watt big one, and surprisingly even the little one, worked just fine. If you need recommendation for power banks, both big and small, there are links below on what I'd recommend to use, particularly with irons like this, which are quite picky. As for temperature calibration, it's pretty good. Mine was maybe 5 or 10 degrees Celsius off. Just hold down the right button, then go into iron, and you can go down to temperature compensation. As for the Christmas tree lights, you can turn them off, but I'm actually starting to like them. Another couple from the last episode, which are pretty good. We'll check the accuracy. The Aneng SL108, cheapest 100 watt iron for $27 US. Many places sell it for twice that, but I've linked below where you can pick it up for that cheap. Out of the box, set to 350 degrees Celsius. Mine only hit 300. Thankfully, it does have temperature compensation, so I bumped that up 50 degrees, and it was as simple as that. Not bad for $27 US. A lot of people like these. They're cheap. The tips are cheap. Really can't complain. Finally, the Fnirsi HS02A, my original favorite. Big 100 watt beast. Feels great in hand. I still love this thing. 55 US on AliExpress right now with the metal case, which is a steal. It was like 100 last time I checked. This one was sent to me by Fnirsi over a year ago. Still going well. I did have some calibration issues on this one though. On 350 Celsius, it was about 20 or 30 degrees off. Not a huge amount, but even after messing with the calibration and the power level, it just wouldn't get closer than about 330. I upgraded the firmware, increased the power level, and yeah, just no difference. Eventually, the fix was just to set it at 370. Not a major problem like with the Fanttik. If you own one, might be worth setting it a little bit higher next time you use it, or grab the thermometer to check if yours has the same issue too. Okay, quick practical test. If you're planning on buying a battery-powered iron, please be aware that these kinds of irons are only designed for soldering small precision stuff. For example, here's the Fanttik T1 Max trying to melt solder on an XT60 plug. The plug just sucks the heat right out of the iron faster than it can put it back in, so the tip gets stuck. I even tried plugging it in for more power, but no, it just wasn't happening. Testing it on the through-hole stuff, that's a much better experience, and exactly what the Fanttik and the HS03 are perfect for. The through-hole stuff was a bit quicker on the HS03. As for the XT60s, again, don't use a C210 tipped iron for this, but it did manage to melt the solder both on the wire and the XT60 plug. It was a bad join, but possible in an emergency out in the field. Switching over to the T65, it is a wonderful feeling having full power back again. It's just effortless. I really liked using this thing. Plenty of heat, at no stage to feel like it lacked power. The T80 and T90 we've tested in the last video, and we already know they work really well. The C200 style iron with the screen, through hole, it was just like using any other regular soldering iron. I had it running for about 15 or 20 minutes, and it will run well with the cable plugged in, so yeah, that was pretty good. Unfortunately though, the Ultra Cheapy did run out of battery after 20 minutes, which is good run time, but it wouldn't run directly off the USB, so I had to stop it there, and that's just a killing blow. These need to be able to run off the USB cable, because 20 minutes battery is never going to be enough power. The Sequre SI012 Pro was effortless. I really enjoyed using that one. The same for the Aneng, plenty of power. Okay, how long does each one take to tin the solder? We'll very quickly go through each of them and then display the results. So the Fanttik, 11 seconds, the HS03, 12 seconds, Alientek T65, 6 seconds, equal with the T90, the 140 watter. So yeah, a bit of a surprise that one. The T80 was 8 seconds, the Cheapy was 21 seconds, the Sequre SI012 Pro Max, 9 seconds at 140 watts, the Aneng at 7 seconds, and the HS02A at 7 seconds. So these were the final results. The quickest ones were the T65 and the T90, followed by the Aneng and the Fnirsi HS02, then the T80 and the Sequre SI012 Pro Max. Next, how hot does each iron's handle get? It might sound silly, but if the whole iron is hot, you're going to sweat, it gets slippery and uncomfortable, so a lot of people want to know this one. I ran them all for 30 minutes, giving them a shake every now and then to keep them awake, and then check the temperature. So the Fanttik and the Fnirsi HS03 looked cool. 3 others that did get warm. The T80 was warm throughout, about 42 degrees. The T90, the grip was very warm at 51 degrees, but the rest was fine. The Fnirsi HS02, just the grip at 50 degrees. The standout was the Sequre's polycarbonate. It worked really well and felt cool all over. Okay, so I'd wanted to do more testing, but that's all I could fit in for this one. These are my current recommendations based on the results and my own subjective experience. You don't have to listen to me though. That's why I provide you all the data. Check it out at cheerful.cheap. So the Sequre SI012 Pro Max, this is excellent. I love it. If you've been thinking of getting one, just go for it. Remember, it won't like some power banks. I've linked below the ones that work for me. I bought mine on Amazon. I think it's cheaper at AliExpress, but I'll link the best ones I can find for you below. The Fanttik, look, I really wanted to like this one. I paid a lot of money for it, but nah, 80 degrees Celsius, 176 Fahrenheit over the set temperature. It just didn't seem to have as much power as the Fnirsi HS03. Speaking of the Fnirsi, look, this is the best battery unit I've tested. I love how you can swap out the battery. It will do some tougher soldering like XT60s in an emergency, but I wouldn't recommend it. Great for PCBs, through-hole kits, Arduino, that kind of stuff. Yes, it is quite big, but it doesn't feel too bad when you're using it. So yeah, I was pretty happy with this one. The C200 style unit for 15 to 20 bucks US. I can see why you guys like these now. For regular soldering, through-hole, PCBs, smaller wires, it works just like a regular iron. Got about 20 minutes runtime. It is very hard plastic, the case as well as this, but for the price, you really can't complain. Definitely worth getting as a backup or something to take out in the field. The T65, also really good. It's like a mini version of the T80 or T90. A little bit pricey right now by itself, about the same as the T90, but once you consider the overall cost, including the charger and cables, it is the cheapest to get into in terms of good quality portable soldering iron. For a medium to large iron, the T80 and the T90 are still king to me. Both are good. I'm going to correct the T90 score to an A+, just like the T80, since the only issue I had with it last episode turned out to be my fault. A fantastic unit. The T80 is getting a bit older, but the price right now is incredible. And as always, my original favorite, the Fnirsi HS02, the price on this 100-watt beast with the metal case and accessories is very, very cheap at the moment. It makes an excellent package. A little bit disappointing that the calibration was off by about 20 or 30 degrees. It's not a major issue, particularly for that price. I would find it hard not to grab one of those. And of course, the cheapest 100-watt out there, the Aneng, continues to surprise. If you're on a tight budget but want 100 watts power, get this, or if you can stretch, the T80. Now, if I could only have one, it's very hard to choose. They're all a little bit different. Last year, I probably would have said the T80 or the Fnirsi HS02. This year, it has to be the T90 or the Sequre SI Pro Max. Right now though, probably I'd pick the Pro Max. It just feels good to use. I love how it's got 2 ports of redundancy. Together with the good power banks, it's unbeatable for work out in the field. For true portability, of course, the HS03 turned out to be a pretty good piece of kit, but remember, that's only for precision work. Okay, that's all I've got time for today. Data is at cheerful.cheap. Don't forget Thermal Master's annual sale is on right now. Pick up a thermal dongle for the cheapest I've seen them in a long time, stacked with my coupon CheapCheer10, as well as Prime Day in just over a week. I'll be posting a deals page to subscribers, so subscribe if you want to see that. And as always, be cool, be kind, and I'll see you next time.